Byron Buxton does have some pop. It just doesn't happen a lot. And we saw yesterday that he can pop into a wall at full speed and still make the catch. Another catch for his highlight reel. But what does he need to do, and what are the Twins trying to get him to do to turn things around offensively?
Well, with Buxton, we know that defense definitely is elite. We saw that catch. It was incredible running to the wall, as you said. But the offense hasn't really been there. But he's been a little bit better here the last 2 weeks or so. The big thing for him is going to be kind of just, pitch recognition, not swinging at balls in the dirt, cutting back on the strikeouts, because we know the speed's elite. I mean, he's one of the fastest guys in baseball. If he can just put the ball in play, he can turn singles into doubles, even little, roll ground balls can be base hits. He's so fast. So I think once he gets a little bit more patience here, and stops swinging at, balls in the dirt, that kind of stuff, will be a better offensive player. So if he can hit even close to 250, even 260, it would be a big thing for this team just because he's so good defensively. Any offense they can get at this point would be a plus.
By the way, how's he feeling this morning after that hit against the wall?
That's a great question. Probably not too great. Last weekend he missed a couple games after running the wall 3 times in one game. So he's definitely pretty reckless out there. I think as a young guy, he's got to learn to kind of take it back a little bit. But, I mean, that catch yesterday really was unbelievable. Full speed into the wall like that. Definitely not showing too much care there, jumping to the wall that fast.
So, Rhett, you were talking about trying to get Buxton, let's say, a batting average of 250, 260. Certainly want to get that on-base percentage up there about 100 points higher as well. But what is it that's keeping him from doing it? Because athletically, he has all the skills, and we see when he was in the minor leagues, he was able to hit the ball. What's been the biggest issue making that transformation or the adjustment to Major League pitching?
I think that's a great question. I think the Twins would love to know the answer to that. I do think part of that is mental, just because you're right, the tools are all there. I mean, the guy's a 5-tool talent. He can hit for average, hit for power. His numbers in the minor leagues were incredible. There's a reason why he was the #1 overall prospect for 3 years in a row. So I think some of it's kind of putting pressure on himself. Opening the year, he batted 3rd, which is kind of a big, tall order for a guy that young. It didn't work out, got off to a really slow start. I think batting 9th has helped him kind of relax a little bit. I know Torrey Hunter has definitely played a big role in talking to him and kind of having him, get through this mental slump a little bit, because it is a lot of pressure being, kind of the savior for this franchise. It just hasn't really happened offensively the last couple of years here, but he's still so young, 23 years old. If he can ever kind of figure that out and get that offense going, which, based on his minor league track record, should happen to go along with his defense, he could be an all-star player. But I just think at this point, it's going to be, laying off some of those tough pitches, but also a lot of, I think, too, is just mental and kind of getting over that hurdle of just kind of being that young guy in this offense.
How do the Twins balance that, though? Because with a young player, you obviously don't want to put too much pressure on him. You want him to maybe make sure he protects himself a little bit more out there on the field, but is more aggressive at the plate. But it's hard, especially, like you said, if it's a mental situation, to go in there and be too aggressive on one front or the other. How do you handle that?
That's the big thing. This team's got a kind of a tough issue on their hands here to kind of get him over the hump offensively and also not let it really carry over into his defense. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of a combination of being more aggressive and less aggressive. He's got to be more aggressive at fastballs in the zone, pitches in the zone, but less aggressive at some of these pitches. Pitchers are throwing around him, a lot of pitches in the dirt, that kind of stuff. If he can kind of lay off that, and also, like I said, defensively, continue to be aggressive, but at the same time to play smart. I know that Bryce Harper's a guy early in his career seemed to get hurt a lot running into the wall, kind of being reckless out there in right field. He seems to have toned it down just a little bit, or at least enough to stay on the field. I think with Buxton, it's the same kind of thing. We've seen him in the past in the minor leagues. He had a concussion running into an outfielder. He's hurt his finger on a dive, his wrist on a dive in the past. Obviously, running into the wall is not going to help. So I think it's just going to be kind of playing to his strengths and being aggressive when he needs to be, both offensively and defensively.